Good evening, beloved children. This is your soul group, your soul consciousness, Zarina, and we are delighted, of course, to be in and as your company. And as always, we so enjoy the lifting and the weaving, the beautiful assemblage of your energies and of your stories. You truly do, all of you, by which we mean us, all of us, create a magic carpet that lifts consciousness and helps in the ascendancy, not only of our consciousness, of course, dear ones, but the ascendancy of the collective consciousness of our dear planet, along with every other planet in this universe and beyond. We truly are a mighty assemblage, as many of you are beginning to recognize as you begin your exploration of what a collective is. We truly are a mighty choir. We truly are a universe of blended voices singing as one. There truly is a music to this universe and to all universes. There truly is a harmony. There truly is a beautiful temperance to this universe, a justice, a balance. And many of your philosophers and master teachers have found a way to integrate this knowing of balance into their teachings, into their writings, into their manifestations. We're really excited to bring forward some interesting teachers, some of whom announced themselves just today to your channel and let her know that they would be coming and speaking. And so we are about to do what we know we ought to do, which is to withdraw so that our first speaker can come forward. And as we withdraw and as our first speaker comes forward, as always, we do ask that you give him your love and your light. Good evening, blessed ones. On your Earth time, I had a specific name. It was Marcus Aurelius. I was assigned a certain part in your Earth history, a chapter that has been called Pax Romana, a time of relative peace, calm, and stability. We were very pleased and proud, those of us who were a part of Pax Romana, to be the ones who established Pax Romana in consciousness. Many of us were Stoics, and we followed the leadings of a Stoic philosophy, doing our best to live lives of virtue. And the living of the life of virtue is what we believed helped to create Pax Romana, not because it made us virtuous per se, but because it gave us all the avenue, the opportunity to recognize a divine equality across all strata of humans, across men and women, free and enslaved, rich and poor, noble and peasant, learned and unlearned. We began to notice that as we built a bridge in society that was all about living a virtuous life, what this meant was that anyone could achieve excellence if they lived a virtuous life. Anyone, regardless of their station in life, anyone could live an excellent life. All that was needed was to try to adopt a virtuous standard, to be honest, to be kind, to stand in truth. When we saw that all of society had been, if you were infected in a good way by our philosophy, we saw a demonstration of democracy. We saw with our own eyes that everyone, men and women and children and slaves and free people and rich and poor, that everyone was able to achieve a kind of, well, spiritual excellence, although we did not use that terminology then, for we were philosophers, but achieve a kind of excellence. And this is what made us equal, you see. And this equality is what created in us what you would call democracy. This idea that all of us are able to achieve excellence simply by being the best human beings that we can be. And so this era of Pax Romana, of peace, Roman peace, a relatively calm period of peace, came about, we believe, because enough of us joined together in believing and practicing our philosophy, and then sharing that philosophy with one and with all. I came tonight because I am so drawn in by what is happening in your country. I believe, you see, that you are on the eve or the cusp of another Pax Romana, but a Pax of the United States, a peace America, a time of stability and calm. I believe, dear ones, that this time of stability and calm is coming because, my beloveds, you are all beginning to recognize that within each and every one of you, the spirit of democracy is alive and well because you are willing to practice the philosophy that guides you to heights of spiritual excellence. This is what creates in you what some of your scriptures would call a clean heart. This is what enables what some of your scriptures have called a clean tongue, a manner of expression, a way of feeling, a way of living that makes it possible for a peace to live not only in you, but in your country and in your world. In my time, beloved ones, we were Roman generals. We came into our authority because we had proven our way in battle. But once we were ruling, it became clear that we had to put the sword down and pick up the mantle of true philosophy, of true divine idea. I see you doing this now. I know that it feels to you as though your world is rife with tension. I know that it feels to you as though the cry for battle is all around you. I know that it feels that way to you. I recognize that. There were times before Pax Romana when it was very much like that. in the streets of Rome. And then it changed, and it will change for you as well. I believe that all of you are finding within you the divine idea of democracy, and that this divine idea of democracy is your philosophy, a spiritual philosophy, which you are now bringing into practice. I hear it in what you are saying. I hear it in your capacity to think about decompressing on the day or the evening of such a momentous time in your history, that you would even have in your consciousness the knowing that this is a time to withdraw and think peaceful thoughts. This is what lets me know that you are being drawn by that beautiful philosophy, the divine idea of democracy, that enshrines the knowing that each and every citizen is as precious and valuable as each and every other citizen. In fact, in this divine idea of democracy, there are no strangers. There is only one. Beloveds, I had to come in and speak to you as somebody who has been in charge of many people, people who fought in battle, people who were artisans, builders, map makers, people who sang music, people who created dramas for us to see and be entertained by. I was in charge of all of this. And I was in charge not only of the people around me, but of my own thoughts. This I knew. This we all knew. That Pax Romana, the peace of Rome, came about because there were enough of us who agreed that the biggest responsibility that we had was the responsibility to our own thinking. Oh, my dears, I hear the echoes of this in the hallways of your society today. Do not be dismayed. Do not be afraid. You are standing on the cusp of a beautiful morning. A new peace is coming, and you are the ones ushering it in. I stand with you. I am no longer a general. I stand with you. I am no longer someone who wields a sword. I stand with you. I am someone who stands with you and works with you to engineer your thinking so that you are a living, breathing, practicing manifestation of the idea of democracy, where everyone and everything is included. Bless you, my dears, bless you. I can feel that there is somebody very familiar to you who has heard the call. I am going to step aside, and a dear friend of mine is coming forward. So thank you and bless you. It is your group soul, Zarina, and we are so blessed by Marcus Aurelius and all that he has brought us. Indeed, we do have someone familiar to us. It is your beloved President Lincoln, and he is here to bring voice to something that he says you already know. We step aside. Oh, my cherished ones, my cherished, cherished ones. Years ago, we planted the seeds of democracy in a soil that was rocky and barren, and quite tricky. There were so many moments, beloveds, and perhaps you remember because many of you were there at this time. There were so many, beloveds, when the doubt of what I was doing would take hold of my soul and shake me severely, shake me so that I could hardly breathe. The burden of responsibility was heavy, to say the least. But I was reminded in the middle of the darkness that what we were doing then and what are doing now is to move the idea of democracy one step further. You see, when I was your president, we were surely not a perfect union. We had many miles to go in terms of enshrining the dignity of all humans, not just white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, but all human beings. And we have, yes, come a distance. And we are again on soil that may feel to you to be rocky. How can anything grow here in this turbulent energy? I am here to assure you that the seeds of democracy that you have been carrying ever since we ended that civil war, ever since the Emancipation Proclamation was read, ever since you women received the right to vote, ever since Rosa Parks stood up and said, no, I will not go to the back of that bus, ever since our beloved Martin Luther King spelled his dream that beautiful day. Ever since all of these beautiful occasions, the seed of democracy has been carried forward. And in the time of its carrying, as it has been planted, it has always felt as though it's going into rocky ground. How can this rocky soil possibly support this tender seed of democracy? I am here to tell you that despite all odds, democracy thrives because of you, because of your insistence to keep carrying the idea and plant it deep within yourselves. For many of you have come to see that you yourselves, and I count myself right along with you, that all of us have been from time to time rocky soil. We are not always fertile soil, are we? Sometimes we are rocky. And yet that divine idea, that divine seed somehow sprouts and grows its roots and becomes the trunk of a beautiful tree and extends its branches out, protecting and embracing all of citizenry. How does this happen? It happens, my beloveds, I believe, because while in our humanness we can be very rocky, in our divinity, we are always fertile, always stable, always moist and yielding, always the perfect place for a divine idea to take root. You can trust your divine natures moving forward. You can trust the knowing that over the next weeks and months and years, you will be in the position to be beautiful ambassadors of democracy. You will be in the position of observing and co-creating a more perfect union, a perfect union of, by, and for the people. a union that is, in fact, already established in your hearts. I believe you know this. I believe you feel this. I want you to know I feel it with you. I'm not afraid as I look forward over the hill. I'm grateful for what I see. I do not see a diminishing of the rays of democracy. I see a sunrise, and I believe you see it as well. Thank you for allowing me once again into your hearts, into your living rooms. I withdraw for the sake of democracy, for there are other speakers here. Thank you and bless you. It is your group Souls Arena. We are grateful to our dear friend, President Lincoln, for coming in and gracing us with his message. We have someone else standing here who asks to be given time, and so we will withdraw, and she will bring herself forward. Well, good evening. My name is Hypatia. I was born in Egypt a couple centuries after our brother Marcus Aurelius came into power, into being. I myself was a philosopher, a different kind of philosopher, but also a teacher of mathematics, science, and astronomy. I was a great believer that the gods and the goddesses were actually beautiful representations of scientific principle. I held this knowing. It was something that I taught. It was something that I offered freely. For this teaching, I was brutally murdered. And this is maybe hard for you to hear. My body dismembered. It is often said that Hypatia, that I was the first liberated woman, and that I came forward bringing equal rights to one and all. I wish that were true, but it is not. There were many who came before me in their quiet ways, who demonstrated the ideas of freedom, who taught beautifully, who were also scientists and astronomers and mathematicians. And they were also women, and they were also men, and they were slaves, and they were free, and they were poor, and they were rich. There were many, many of these. I had a kind of a following, a kind of a crowd appeal in that time, which may be why it became necessary for those who were frightened by me and frightened by my pagan beliefs, why it became necessary for me to be killed. You are feeling in this lifetime, in this now time, you are feeling the coming together of my physical body. In that time, my body was pulled apart, dismembered, burnt, thrown away. In your time, my body is brought together, verified, used as a way of ushering in and treasuring and nurturing and redelivering the seed of democracy. I am present in your consciousness, not only as a teacher of sacred geometry, not only as a teacher of balance, not only as a teacher of spirituality and science blended together, but I am established in your consciousness as a teacher of reparation For as my body is coming together in all of your bodies, as you claim each and every one of your bodies as a body that cannot be pulled apart, that cannot be sold to the highest bidder, as each and every one of you claims the glorious truth that your body temples are beautiful, sacred places. And as you pull your own body temples together, can you feel that you are helping to pull the whole human body together? This is a part of what is cusping on the eve of your great peace, on the beginning of your great democratic shift. I am here with you once again, not only for the women, but for the men, for all of us together are learning how to bring our whole bodies back together as one unit, as a beautiful, shining example. Many of you are experiencing healings in your life that have to do with this principle of bringing the body together, of seeing the body as one and not in different parts. This same healing principle is being applied to the nation that you are living in now. Your United States of America is a body that many would claim has been torn apart, dismembered. This is not so. This is a body that is healing. This is a body that is coming together with science and spirituality, with philosophy and integrity, with decency and kindness. I proudly stand with you on the eve of what I believe will be a great chapter for you, for your nation, and for this planet. And I thank you for listening to me. Bless you. And thank you, Zarina, for allowing me to step in. She always does that, doesn't she? This is Master Saint Germain. Zarina understands that I have a habit, and I guess it can't be broken, of just wanting to come right in when I feel it is appropriate, and I feel it is appropriate now. As the lovely Hypatia was speaking, I knew that I would be next to speak to you of the time that you are in, beloved ones, the time of alchemy, the time of change, the time in which you finally decide that it is not your circumstance that makes you whole, but it is your wholeness that creates your circumstance. I am so proud as I stand with you, watching on what we are calling the eve of a blooming democracy, the beginning of a profound spiritual revolution. I am so proud of you for the knowing that you are all making this adjustment. Once again, the adjustment being that it is no longer your circumstances which make you whole. It is your wholeness which create your beautiful, undying circumstances. We've been working on this for a very long time, haven't we? Oh, my dear brothers and sisters, we have been working on this for centuries. For the knowing that it is not on the outside of us, but rather on the very inside, that the entire universe exists. I'm proud to stand with you on the eve of your beautiful democracy, on the eve of the birthing of yourselves as spiritual practitioners of democracy, on the eve of your understanding that it is your own democratic tendencies towards loving every aspect of yourself and including every aspect of yourself, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the so-called ugly, all of these aspects of yourselves, you, because you are democracy, you are loving with equal compassion. Beloveds, this is how it begins. This is what has been prophesied for many centuries, a time of great peace. But before the time of great peace, as you know, as you are preparing for, but before the time of great peace comes the appearance of upheaval. Be prepared for this, my dear ones. Of course, be prepared. But know that that appearance of upheaval is not the wholeness of the lasting truth that will enable you as individual citizens and you as a collective to move your society forward as a democracy. You are experiencing the underpinnings of democracy. Many of you know that I love to dress well. I love a good suit. I love a nice pair of hose. I'm proud of the way I dress, but I can hear my tailor laughing and giggling because if you were to turn my suit inside out, you might be appalled at how undistinguished I look. If you were to turn all that beautiful Dapper Dan fashion consciousness that I often exhibit, if you were to turn it inside out, if you were to see the work that has gone into my costume, you would laugh because, my friends, it isn't pretty. It's slow, it's painful, and so is your democracy. It's not pretty, it's slow, it's painful, and that's because you are in the underpinnings of it. You are in the tailoring of it on the inside of it. You are in the part where it is all beginning. You are in the womb. You are in labor. It isn't pretty. It's slow. It's painful. And it is becoming remarkable. It is becoming beautiful. Soon and very soon, you will have stitched together a beautiful coat of democracy that you will proudly wear, a coat that goes way beyond fashion, a coat that you will wear as one heart and one mind, a coat that is the union of all of your customs and all of your ways and all of your thinking, brought together under this mantle of the idea of democracy. And so while you may not feel as though you look particularly stunning right now, I assure you, my friends, you are on your way to looking fabulous. I have a place in my consciousness where I go, and in that place is the future. In that place, I see you walking down the fashion runway, clothed in the raiment of democracy, and you are beautiful, and you are stunning, and you are elegant, and you are fun, and you are whimsical, and you are loving, and you are inventive, and you are all that your divinity promises you are. Dear hearts, I am so proud of you, so proud to walk alongside of you. So proud to be a part of this garment that you are making. this beautiful garment of democracy. Here it comes. Thank you, dear ones. I bring you back to your group soul, Zarina. Thank you. It is your group soul, Zarina. Thank you, Master Germain. Of course, you are always welcome to barge in at any time. You know we love to hear from you. And finally, our dear beloved Lady Nada is standing here, and she would like to say a few words. Oh, and she has brought Carolyn's father with her. Oh, how nice. And so we step aside as Lady Nada and Carolyn's father comes in. Good evening. This is Lady Nada. I would like to have Carolyn's father speak first. He has something that he has been dying to say all evening. I will let him come forward. Yes, good evening. My name is Dr. Bob, and I'm Carolyn's father. I'm still her father, I'm glad to say, very proud of her. I wanted to tell a story of something that happened to her when she was quite young, only 3, and she had climbed a tree across the street from our house in Newton Center, Massachusetts, and she was enjoying herself. And then a clap of thunder came, and it was quite loud. And she was so frightened that she let go of the branch that she was straddling, and she fell to the ground right on her back. And for a while, the wind was knocked out of her. She was really, really quite frightened, ran across the road to find her mother and couldn't speak because the wind had been knocked out of her and because she was also so frightened. And her mother gathered her up, and her mother brought her inside, and eventually the child was able to breathe, and the child was given a bath. And when I came home from hospital, and Anne, my wife, told me what happened, I gathered my daughter, a little 3-year-old, up in my arms, and I did my best to explain to her why she need not be afraid. I told her that what she had heard was not thunder, not some scary, mysterious thing, but it was actually lumber. It was the movement of lumber down a river. And it was lumber that was being moved down a river to build homes for all the girls and boys that didn't have a place to stay in Boston. I told her that. And as I told her, I knew that she knew that I knew that I was making up a story, but that there was something quite excellent about this story. There was something useful about the knowing that that which frightens us the most is actually the beginning of building something appropriate and amazing for a whole society. And so the child was able to sleep that night. And so the child had dreams of trees that had fallen, but trees that were being used to build houses, houses for little boys and little girls that didn't have homes. And that is how she recovered from her fear. And this is how I think, my friends, we can all recover from that which frightens us. The trees that you may believe are falling are trees, in fact, that will be used to create new dwelling places for democracy. I believe this. I have hope. And I believe you have hope too. Thank you. I had to step in. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you. And this is Lady Nada, and we thank Dr. Bob for sharing with us that story. Beloveds, there is no reason to fear. There is every reason to feel calm. There is every reason to feel aware. There is every reason to know that you have come here to this planet at the perfect time to bring your sense of calm and strength and integrity with you. You have come in a time of turbulence to be that place, that oasis where calm is happening. You have come to be anchors of the calm, to be safe harbors in the turbulent times. You have come because you remember well the peace that passes all understanding, a peace that you are feeling now. You remember well the divine idea of democracy, which is experienced effortlessly in the fourth dimension. In the fourth dimension, of course, there is no hierarchy. There is no greater than or less than. It's just us, all of us together. And you remember this and you know this, all of you who hold this lamp. I stand with you. I am proud to stand with you. I bring you the message of patience, dear ones. I bring you the message to look beyond election night. You are making a choice, not on November 5th and not on January 6th, but with every breath you take, you are making a choice to be democracy itself. This is your choice. This is what you are here to manifest. And it is not attached to a polling, to a voting booth, to a date and time, to a news station, to a rumor, or to any kind of result. You are here because you remember the divine idea of democracy is a template, a grid that allows us all to live harmoniously with one another, to sing together as one. You are here for this, and all of us are here with you. I also believe, as all the other speakers have believed and have shared with you, I also believe that you and your country are on the premise, on the very cusp of a beautiful new dawn. And I believe this not because I am able to see in the future the result of an election. I believe this because I am able to see in the future of your heart. I am able to see the logical progression. I am able to see the logical evolution of your hearts. It is the same evolution as mine. It is a pattern of love, and we are all destined with it and for it and as it. And so will you join hands with each other energetically? And will you join hands with me? And will you come with me to a place that you remember from your time spent in fourth dimension? It is a reflecting pool. It is a beautiful, deep pool of calm, clear water, a pool in which we can see the mirror of all of our divine ideas and divine thoughts. Before you all incarnated, we all stood together at this reflecting pool, and we all held together the idea of democracy. And we held it until we could see it reflected in the pool beneath us. As we looked into that pool beneath us, we felt, all of us, a call to remember that we ourselves are the reflective ability of this pool, that we are the pool of consciousness, that we are the gathering together of consciousness, that we are the pooling of energies, the pooling of thoughts, the pooling of hearts and minds that allows the idea of democracy to grow in astonishing ways. Dear hearts, let not your hearts be troubled. Know that you are blessed. Know that your philosophy of virtue, of kindness, of inclusion, that your philosophy brings your country, your planet, your galaxy, and your universe forward. I am blessed to stand with you. I am blessed to be here with you and all of your teachers and all of your guides and all of your philosophers. Let freedom ring. It surely begins right now. Bless you. And this is your group Souls Arena. We bow our heads in gratitude with humble hearts, in gratitude, in thankfulness for our beautiful assembly of friends who have come to comfort and uplift us, to remind us of what is always true. We see before us a beautiful saddle upon a magnificent horse. We know as a group that we are ready to put our feet in that saddle and to get up on that horse and to move forward as one. As we put our feet back into that saddle, we are remembering that we do live in physical bodies, that we do have marvelous personalities. And this is part of what the saddle means. We are putting ourselves back into our bodies, back into our personalities, and we are letting ourselves be carried by a horse of great strength, great integrity. It is our mission statement, is it not? That as we move forward to bring love wherever love appears not to be, to bring light wherever darkness seems to be. And so now we are able to feel our feet, and we are able to feel our hands, and we are able to remember the hairs on our head, and we are able to be grateful that every single hair on our head is counted and blessed and valued and measured. We are able in this moment to remember that we are loved beyond measure. And as we are loved beyond measure, that we are, of course, in turn, able to love in a measureless way. Bless you, beloveds. Take your time coming forward. Know that all is well. Namaste.